Okay. Why do you give us that early? Why do you give us that early?
Oh, well. Yeah, you also saw me over at the, I was right with like Randy this morning.
Just a little bit of housekeeping this morning. I'm Jeff Davis. I'm kind of the one that designed this, and with the help of the local 1841, we put this together. Really, what we're trying to do is show you what we do for a living. We're not always just sitting out on the bench looking handsome all the time and pretty. The stuff we actually do. What we're going to do, we're going to do 4 separate exercises today. We're going to do CPR, defib. It's going to be run real time. The next evolution is going to be a car fire. It's going to be a live fire scenario. They'll actually put the car fire out. The third scenario is going to be vehicle extrication. We've got jaws of life out back, some cutters, and some other equipment that we use. The fourth evolution is going to be search and rescue. That's going to be like real life. We've got the room darkened. We've got the room fogged up. So it's going to give you a real taste what it is to be a firefighter and how it is when we go in these atmospheres. The only thing missing upstairs is going to be the high heat. It's warm already a little bit up there, but this is how we train. We've done a lot of training. This is the way we do it, and it brings the real life scenario. The first piece of housekeeping is just a waiver. Basically, if you get hurt today, that you don't hold Chief Sidlow accountable.
I thought you were putting this on.
I am, but it says Leominster Fire Department all over it.
There goes your 3 years.
I want to stress, I want everyone to have fun. I want you to learn. You may be a little tired when you leave. That's okay. We're quite often tired at the end of our shift. But we really want you to experience what firefighting is like and really get a flavor for it. We want you to understand what we do. When we're kind of looking for grants, we're looking for certain type of equipment. Now you have a little bit better idea kind of why we're out there looking for different type of stuff. Today you're going to get to wear the gear. To give you some information on how heavy it is when we're all decked out in our gear, boots, pants, coat, helmet, an SCBA, and the tool in our hand. We're always carrying the tool. We're adding 75 pounds to ourselves. So if the average firefighter is around 200, 180, 250, somewhere around there, you're adding another 70 pounds to yourself. It's exhausting. We've got heat issues today. We had you medically cleared. If everyone's cleared, then you're going to be able to get in the gear. We're going to stress rehab today. We're going to stress water. We are offering coffee, but if you're getting into the suits, please don't drink 3-4 cups of coffee and then go out in the suits. Dehydration is going to be a problem. We won't, like I said at the beginning, we want you to have fun. We want you to stay safe. We've got a lot of firefighters today. We're all off duty. Come down and volunteer. We want to make sure you're safe. If you're not feeling good for any reason, each group, everyone's going to be assigned a group, and you're going to be assigned a liaison. Let somebody know, hey, I'm not feeling good, and we'll just take you aside quietly. We're not going to make any show out of it. We're all EMT, so we know how to take care of you. It should be no problem. I'm a few minutes from the hospital. I don't expect to have a problem. But by all means, if you're not feeling good, you're not feeling right, please let us know. Some of the scenarios, the live fire scenario, the search and rescue scenario, if you're claustrophobic, it's no big deal. We do understand that. I teach at the Fire Academy, and we got to teach recruits going through that. So a lot of times firefighters are kind of claustrophobic at the beginning. If you've got that problem while we're in that search and rescue, let somebody know. We have a lot of personnel up there, and we're going to let you know what's going on. We're going to have somebody with you all the time. Anything you don't feel comfortable with, just say, hey, I don't think this feels right. It's going to be challenging. Like I said, we just want to get you the flavor of everything that's going on. Anyone have any questions? We should run through this pretty quick. Each scenario is going to last about a half an hour. Everything's pretty well timed. After the scenario, we're going to give you 10-15 minutes to cool down, take the gear off, and hydrate, have some water. We've got chairs set up throughout the facility. We're going to reiterate hydrating all day long. It's very important to keep you hydrated. Today for the liaisons, What we have is Craig Long. Craig's our president of the local. Next one, Mark Burnett is one of the liaisons. He'll run another group. Gary Rayno. Is Gary in here? Gary Rayno. Gary's the other liaison. And Roger LaPointe. Roger, come on in. Nut job. Roger's the other. I apologize in advance to anyone that's with Roger's group.
My picture come up yet?
And within 10 minutes, you'll understand why I said that.
It will be entertaining.
So I'm going to divvy you up into four separate groups. I'm just going to go. It's random. So Diane, if you could go. If you could go with Craig Long.
Okay.
Lucky you.
Yay.
We don't have to write the Chiefs card.
I will wait for the new one. Ricky, you'll be with Gary Rayno.
Okay.
Robin?
Yep.
Robin, you'll be with Roger LaPointe.
Oh, yeah, sure. You planned that. I see how it is.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
So they warned you about me, right?
You'll be with Mark. Mark is Mark's straight across here. Ricky Ann, you'll be with Craig.
The problem is, his wife's not like that. It was one thing when it was just, not Linda like to go out.
Reverend Sue, you'll be with Gary. Jen, you'll be with Roger. Keep him in line.
Me? Keep them in
Yeah.
line?
Justin, you'll be with Mark.
It's okay if you hit him.
I'm just glad you're not. Why?
Dave, you'll be with
I
Craig.
know. My feelings are hurt. You have a lot to write about.
Now that was planned.
I may not be where you with you, but I'm gonna be able to see you.
Chuck, you'll be with Gary.
No.
Not until we slap those defense pads on.
Oh yeah, we're using a real one today.
Are they supposed to go on your head?
Just don't stand in the puddle when you hit the button.
Shock treatment.
We got a different
And Wayne,
version of
you'll be with
copay.
How's that copay?
All right, so we'll start. Craig, you'll be CPR. You'll come down this way.
Follow me.
Right with you.
Morning, Roger. Home business.
You can do it now. Actually, we've walked
It's okay to do it.
Same here.
Same here. Good.
Can I have that okay for like everybody?
Over here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over here, and we're gonna be the first arriving company.
Oh, okay.
So they're gonna come over.
How long do we have?
An ambulance on that.
15, 20 minutes.
We got that other game.
These guys are from,
One, yeah. One's from MedStar. That we
Yeah,
work
we'll put it
closely
on the back
with.
board.
We dispatch for them, they run our ALS service, our advanced life support. The fire department just runs BLS, basic life support. And we use them as the medics.
Steve,
More than
you
everybody.
wanna pull up the BVM and there?
Yep.
These guys would be our ambulance crew,
Okay.
Andy and Steve, Ryan.
What we're gonna do is, so this is CPR. Anybody, anybody certified in CPR?
I used to be.
You used to be? Okay. So it pretty much doesn't change. There's a few changes throughout the years in how we do CPR. But bottom line, the basics of CPR is that still to this day, with all the ways people die, cardiac emergencies are the biggest killer in emergency situations. Whether it's in a trauma or a medical problem, the biggest killer of adults is cardiac arrest, cardiac emergencies. The The biggest way to save someone, early CPR. That's why we push to have everybody know CPR. When we get on a scene, if someone already knows CPR and they're doing it, a person's chances of survival increase tenfold. When your heart stops, it stops moving blood, stops pumping oxygen into your brain. 6 minutes without oxygen, it's pretty much you're going to be, if not brain dead, it increases the level of chance of being brain damaged. So whether we bring him back or not, 6 minutes isn't a long time. So from when you make a phone call to us getting there, 6 minutes is nothing. So early CPR is important. That's why a lot of times on ambulance calls, that's one of the big ones. People always ask us, we always get the question, how come you see a fire engine, an ambulance, and another ambulance on a call? Fire engines, because all of our firefighters are EMTs, so we want to get them on scene. Most of our engines, if they're coming from quarters, can get to anywhere in the city within 3 to 5 minutes, and then the ambulance is right behind them. A CPR call, a code we call it, it takes 7, 8 to 10 people. It sounds like a lot, but you have your 4 guys on an engine company. You want 4 guys on an engine company. Usually you have 3 on your engine company, 2 on the ambulance, and then 2 medics. Nowadays, the protocols have changed where you're actually going to get 4 ambulances, 3 ambulances, because the paramedics, they ride medic and a basic, and the protocols call for 2 paramedics on a code. So you're going to get your firefighters, your EMTs, your paramedics, and their helpers. But bottom line, CPR, I'll teach you a real quick method of CPR.
We'll kind of go over this a little bit.
Just like this. In CPR, there's two things going on. You're doing compressions, which you're basically trying to pump blood through the body, which is pulling oxygen, and then we also give oxygen manually. The most important part of CPR is compressions. It used to be breathing is more important than compressions. Right now, all the studies show good, hard, quality compressions can save a life without even doing the breathing. So a quick method, hands-only CPR. You come up on someone, they're not responsive. You can check the pulse. You don't need to check the pulse. You're just going to kind of look
for any sort of breathing or anything like that.
You feel for breathing. You'll breathe on your neck, and you
So-
go right into compressions. Heel your hand.
So what you want to do, you want to be right on like the nipple line, right in the middle. Put one palm down like that, interlock your hand, and just go up and down, keeping your arms locked like that. Gives you more leverage.
You're not going to hurt someone. The harder you push, the better. Almost imagine in your mind you're pushing right down to the back. You're going to pump at a rate of at least 100 times a minute.
You guys want to try it?
Good.
Going down, that's what you hear.
It's,
So-
what American Heart is teaching is, especially for the hands-only CPR for everybody, is you'll hear ads that they're doing right now. It's you're pumping to the beat of staying alive. So if you can
Use that sound for the song everybody knows.
That was in my head.
That's the beat that will give you 100 compressions per
And
minute.
if you do just that until we arrive, that's going to increase this person's survival tenfold, especially if you saw them go down.
So the new way is no longer like 5 or 6 breathe, 5 or 6
Nope.
breathe, just pump.
We still have compressions and breaths
I was going to
because
say,
we have the
we
equipment.
adhere to
As far as you're concerned,
just
unless
keep
you
doing that.
go and take a CPR class and learn everything,
Yep.
just get those compressions.
Now, do you look for blockage or anything like that?
No, well, I mean, you can take a quick look. You're never going to put your hand in someone's mouth.
No?
2 reasons. 1, if there was something, you could push it further down. 2 is, and I'll give you a good example. The last CPR we just did a couple weeks ago, we had an airway in the person's mouth. He started to swallow it, and whatever reason, his body convulsed and he locked down. You don't want that to be a finger, because it'll be gone. So
Plus, if there is something
There's
blocked, by
something
doing
doing your
compressions,
CPR.
you'll loosen it up.
you have a good chance of it's
Almost a Heimlich, huh?
almost.
Right,
And the Heimlich on someone who's heavy or pregnant is to do chest compressions.
Right.
So just the chest compressions alone are going to help you push something up. And then you get that blood flow until we get there. And then we have airways, and then the medics, they have an advanced airway where they can go all the way down.
So my first question was around, when you come to a site, right, you guys are basic life support, third advanced life support. I mean, none of that really matters in the emergency thing, I just get things going. But at what point do you say, hey, we're gonna bring these guys in or don't?
We dispatch them.
We dispatch
If
always.
If it's called a possible
Yeah.
code,
So
They
you
would
call and
always
say, I
be
think
dispatched
someone's
to
not
us.
breathing, we're coming with the ambulance, the engine, the
and the
medics.
medics.
Right off the
Oh,
bat.
and we got.
And everybody's.
Everybody's coming.
Everyone's
If
responsible.
you see something that is a surprise that you didn't get out of dispatch, then you'll call them in.
Yep.
Then we'll add more.
And it's either, depending on what's going on, we might start transporting and meet up with them,
Yeah.
and they'll just jump on board and then continue to the hospital.
What's the fundamental difference in a situation like that? If you find something here between ALS and BLS?
They're gonna do the advanced airway,
Yeah.
and they're gonna do a line and start pushing
They
drugs.
can push drugs.
They can push drugs on the way there.
Yep. They have higher capabilities of analyzing rhythms.
Yeah.
Our
Their machine-
defibrillator is semi-automatic, it tells us when to shock. Their defibrillator, they're actually trained to read heart rhythms and figure this out. They push drugs, the biggest thing is pushing
If-
drugs
if-
with them.
With our defib, if there's no rhythm at all, asystole, flat line,
Yeah.
nothing, it's not gonna give us a shock.
I see.
They could override that.
So what we'll do is we'll go over, have you guys just do a few compressions real quick, and then we'll kind of run you through a scenario of what it's like when we show up on a scene doing CPR. So, anybody want to hop in?
So if your fireman's singing, staying alive, it's all right?
Yep.
Yes.
Sometimes I catch myself saying that.
Push right down.
Keep your elbows locked in, right? And
It's,
all
it's,
up
it's
here.
kind of a gross thing, I guess, but if you're doing CPR right, you're probably going to crack someone's ribs.
That's,
Cracked ribs are okay to deal with if you're alive.
Okay.
right.
So it's not, you're not going to hurt this person. Right. And CPR takes a long time, it's tiring. I mean, it could be, we could be at a call up the other end of town, you could be doing CPR for 10 minutes, so, but you got to
And that's
keep
another
on
reason
pumping.
for the help. When the engine company arrives, if
Tap in.
if someone's doing compressions, we want to keep that going while we're transporting. So everyone else will be grabbing a backboard, trying to put them on. We'll be doing it as we're getting them to the ambulance. We try not to stop.
Guy takes it right, guy will be
Straight
in the
down.
back.
Good hard
We'll be doing
compressions.
it all the way.
Yeah.
The whole time while we're rolling them on the stretcher, somebody's been riding the stretcher.
Yeah,
doing
somebody's
compressions.
riding the side rail of the stretcher.
I always.
Doing it with
years
one
ago,
hand, too, when
did the
you're
mouth
riding the side of the
breathing to check that nothing's blocked, to do all that.
We've always been taught that, and now all of a sudden they're teaching you, this is more important. For the lay person to
Get the
find
blood-
someone,
get
just
the
get on the
blood pumping.
compressions.
You can go without
Now-
oxygen longer than you can go without.
Now, do you go directly to Worcester?
No. For CPR, we'll go right to Leominster. Perfect. Now, the thing is, we say 100 a minute, it's at least 100 a minute. So, it's okay to go too fast. I mean, you're not going to be like a jackrabbit. You're going to slow down as you go. And each set you do, you're going to slow down more. But too slow isn't good enough. Good
I
quality.
want to make sure you let the
fast.
chest recoil, because that's actually what
That's on the
That's what gives the pumping action in the heart. That's what'll pump. And every compression you do, it's drawing in air automatically. So while they're not getting like oxygen like we would give, they're actually still getting air, which is going to become oxygenated and get pushed up to the brain.
That's
just by
not for
doing
heart
the
attack, they
compression.
were talking about going direct, and
Heart attack
heart
and
attack.
cardiac arrest, two different things that
Right.
we're talking.
So they go right to Worcester for a heart attack?
They may, there's certain protocols you meet, and they go to Worcester, go right to the cath lab. A lot of times we'll bring someone in, go right up to the cath lab.
Yeah.
Cardiac arrest, you want to get them to the nearest medical facility as quick as you can. So,
Cardiac arrest means it's stopped.
they're dead.
Versus
Heart-
The
pain.
heart stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Versus
versus I
chest
think
pain.
I'm having a heart attack.
As opposed to having a heart attack, and these guys, they'll put you on the monitor, they can actually see that you're having a heart attack on there. Well, you got to get down to Worcester because that makes a difference. Your heart stopped, we need to just get you to the nearest
Right.
medical facility.
So, is the Leominster ambulance going to Worcester on a heart
Yes.
attack and tied up on a half an hour or an hour run?
Closer to an hour, hour and a half. So, and now when that happens,
Right.
Our new policy is we will then call two guys in
we
and
bring
man
two guys
rescue
in
two.
off duty.
Oh, you got to go to Worcester?
That way
Which-
we're not running short.
How often are you going to Worcester, any idea? Once a week?
At least.
It's-
You'll have
It has
It has-
days, we'll
it has
have
spurts.
2-3 weeks where we don't go at all.
Yeah.
And it'll seem like we're
Yeah.
going every shift,
I was
sometimes
going
2
to
times a
say,
shift.
I've gone the last 3 shifts I've
Kinda.
heard.
Really?
Once.
Because that was supposed to be one of the big things, right? The demand of sending the An ambulance to Worcester is a big deal, right?
Yes.
And that's not our choice anymore, that's protocols.
Yeah.
You need to get to
You
that.
know, trauma, depending on the mechanism of injury, you might have to go.
The motorcycle
right
accident
there.
data was in the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both our ambulances went to Worcester.
Stroke.
All right.
So we want to show them what it's like?
Yep.
Come in real time.
Show them what we can, this is the equipment when we get called for a CPR call. Like I said, all our engines have EMTs on them. All our engines carry all these medical supplies. This is the first in bag.
We actually all carry the same bags pretty much.
Whichever crew is the first one in the door, whether it be the engine or the ambulance, are going to walk in the door with this bag. This has your oxygen tank. It has devices, everything PD. Then it has air masks for regular oxygen therapy, nasal cannulas. These are bag valve masks. This is what we use when we're doing CPR or assisted ventilation on someone. Obviously an adult one. We carry 3 of them on the ambulance, I think. The trucks only carry 2.
Nope.
Yeah,
We have all 3 of them in the truck.
Adult, PD, infant. Obviously makes a difference of how much air you're pushing into someone. You don't want to push that much air into a baby with lungs this big. So you're going to go in with this bag, airways. We carry OPAs, airways,
All different size. The nasal airway.
So when we get on a scene, first crew in, you're going to run in the door, you're going to find a person. First person, check for a pulse. Now with us, with you we say don't even check for a pulse, just see if you think they're breathing. If they're not, right in CPR. Us, it's a few more steps up. We're going to go in, we're going to check for a pulse. We have no pulse. Right on the compressions immediately. You have one guy's on compressions. Next person is going to get out the defibrillator. That's the next step that's really huge, is early defibrillation. Get the pads on, get an analyzer. Someone else is going to put an airway into you. This basically is going to keep your tongue from blocking your airway while we're doing CPR. Anything that's in your mouth, that's right in your throat, and then we'll breathe. For us, it's 30 compressions, 2 breaths. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. So this will be hooked up right to the oxygen, so we'll have oxygen going in, straight oxygen. The defibrillator, our ambulances and all our fire trucks carry this defibrillator. This is a training one. It will not shock you, I promise. Nobody will get shocked. Craig's got a special one for you. This is a semi-automatic defibrillator. The ones you see at Orchard Hills, the high schools, the schools, those are automatic. They'll have one button. You push it, and it does everything for you. Ours is semi-automatic because we're trained. You push the analyze button, you push the shock button. They all come with pads. These aren't going to stick that well, but defibrillator plugs in, and then it starts yelling at you. It starts talking to you. You plug it in, you turn it on. These pads, a regular set of pads, these are training pads. Here they are.
Connect.
If you forget where to put them, they have pictures on them. This one's worn off. So, one pad, left side, other pad, up on the top of the chest. What it does is it sends electricity from one pad to the other. It shoots it across your body. So
Connect.
that's how they shock your heart, through these little pads here. And as we do the CPR, we'll go through how it runs. But just want to familiarize you with the equipment. And we'll come in with, usually it won't be the first crew in the door. It's usually the second crew, whether it's the ambulance or the fire engine. We'll bring a backboard in. Because often we're going to find someone laying on a bed on some soft surface. You want a hard surface to do CPR if you can help it. If someone stops breathing, and they're sitting in a chair, you want them on the ground, obviously, to do CPR. We use a backboard, we strap them. That way we have a hard surface right throughout. Carry them out on the backboard, we put them on a stretcher. They stay on the backboard all the way to the hospital. That way you always have a hard surface to push against.
I don't think they might know, but you have the numbers of how many ambulance calls you do in a year?
We do.
Right on that sheet.
I don't know them offhand.
Over 4,000. We go on over 4,000 Rescue 1 calls.
Wow.
A year. So what's
Rescue
that?
2 would be...
It's 100 a week, right?
Rescue 2 does about 600.
Rescue 1, from November 22nd, 2010 to November 21st, 2011. Rescue 1, ALS, which is when we have the paramedics with us, 1,367 runs. BLS, which would be just our ambulance without paramedics, 1,446. 478 no service. That would be when we go to a car accident. We respond to a car accident. Someone says, no, I don't want the ambulance. We sign a waiver. We come to your house because you called for your wife and she says, nope, I'm not going. That's a no service for us. Total EMS runs for Rescue 1, that's our primary frontline truck, 3,301 runs. Rescue 2, which is our backup truck that we man. If Rescue 1's out, we take someone off the fire engine and someone off the ladder. ALS 152, BLS 186, no service 77, for a total of 415.
No, thank you.
And then when both our ambulances are out, or if we're training or tied up at fire, we'll send MedStar, the private company, to run the calls for us.
No, thank you.
That's 281 calls they've done. ALS 227, BLS 70 no service, for a total of 578.
So it averages like 10 a day, right?
Yes. Yep.
Which is phenomenal when you think about it.
Yep. And 10 a day, and
10 a
your
day.
average. Your average ambulance call, an average call is about an hour turnaround. From when you leave the station till you come back to the station, you're gone. So.
And on top of that now, our reports are done on computer. So they have laptops that they're going to bring with them. They're going to start the report, get some information. They get back, they have the patient's information from the hospital. They have to start doing the report, and this all helps our billing process. But on a very, very routine call where you didn't have to do much, you know, things went well, there's not a lot of stuff you have to enter, it takes at least a half an hour to do a report. So if you went on those 10 runs, and they were just regular calls, there's another 5 hours in reports.
Well,
Yeah.
10 a day. You think about a city of this size, 10 days is a lot.
That's a lot.
Well,
it's funny,
you
you
know,
go to some cities around us and it just doesn't seem like they're running as much.
Leominster is 6th in the state for motor vehicle accidents with injury.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta write that down.
And if you drive around Leominster,
Well, we've got a lot of highways, a
Believe
lot of
it.
highways, a lot of highway
Right.
access.
Without Route 13, we're probably
You know, right.
150th.
actually, more of the accidents I've been to weren't on Route 13, ironically. Yeah, I mean, but that's just falls. I work every
Yeah.
fourth day.
Penetration protection, it's like an inner shell, and then you get the outer shell. So. We don't use these for the purpose of today.
Oh,
The other night, we
Typically
were
they're,
down on Fuller Street, weighed out, there's a big scale there, a little stretched out, and we weighed ourselves.
they gotta be no mix, right?
We don't have much.
Go longer or shorter? They've gotten better. This one.
What we're gonna do is a demonstration. We'll show you the equipment. When we get to the search and rescue area, you'll have your option whether you wanna go on air or don't wanna go on air. It's up to you. But what we wanna do is just show you the demonstration of what it's like. The gear that you have on, it's all three pieces. The outside is a protective shell. This protects us against cuts. I was at a car fire one time. The plate glass window broke, fell on my back, and the only thing that ripped was the reflex light on this coat. This outside protected me against that plate glass window. It's very strong, made out of Kevlar. Same thing, bulletproof vests are made out of. The second part of this gear, this is a protective film. It's waterproof. Also protects us against bloodborne pathogens, any type of diseases that we may that's liquid out in the field. The third part of the gear is the vapor barrier, and what that does protects us against the high heat. The gear that we buy nowadays is good up to 1,000 degrees, so we can be inside an environment 1,000 degrees. We may cook inside, but the gear will survive. So they can bring us out pretty much what will be like a microwave oven inside. So all this stuff, you're looking somewhere around $2,000 to outfit a firefighter just in this gear itself. We haven't even talked about the Scott air packs, but you're somewhere around $2,000 for this type of gear. And that's basically an overview of what. The other thing we have on are firefighting boots. We would have gloves on. We also have a Nomex foot, so that if something were to flash over with our Scott on, we're not going to get burned anywhere on our face. What I'll have is Jay Blank will demonstrate this, the Scott Air Pack. He'll go over that a little bit.
All right, these are our Scott Air Packs, our SCBA, which stands for Self-Contained Breathing Apparatus. These are in all the seats of the fire trucks. This is the tank compressed to 4,500 PSI. It reduces down to our breathing regulator, which we put onto the air vents. I'm going to put this on, and we'll help you put these on today, just because they can be kind of a pain. You get shoulder straps and a belt. The belt will take most of the weight of it. We turn the tank on all the way. There's a gauge in the back. There's a gauge right here on the shoulder to show you how much air you have left. Now, when it gets down to a quarter of a tank, the regulator on your face piece will vibrate, signaling you have a quarter of a tank left, and it's time to get out. Also, built into this is a pass alarm. It's a personal alert safety system. If you stop moving for a certain amount of time, it'll start that alarm. It starts out slowly, it'll get louder and louder and louder. It starts out like this. It gets louder and louder, then it'll go on a full alarm. And that's in case one of our guys is down. Follow that sound and hopefully find them and get them out.
You probably recognize that from 9/11. Maybe a lot of that footage. That's all you heard in the background.
It's pretty loud. If you're wearing that today and it starts going off, you give it about a little wiggle, the sensor's down here. That'll get the silence. Also, you can press this button and it starts going off on the side, and that'll get the silence. The red button in front is if you want it to go straight to alarm. If you're down, people look for you, hit that red button. Also on these packs, these newer packs that we got from the grant back in 2004, called the Buddy Breathing System. All our frontline packs have this on. Brian's running low on air, and I'm his partner. I can clip in, I have the same connection on my pack. I can clip in, we can share air. Unfortunately, we haven't had to use this yet. And it's there, there's another tool we have in case we need it. Mask. These are the masks. It's right around your face. You're going to end that over the top. Put it on, we're going to tighten the bottom straps, top straps. Put our hand right over the bottom there to check to see if we got a good seal. It sucks right to your face, you have a good seal, that's what nothing's going to get in. Put this in, flip it in, put the red knob up. Fits right in, twist. And take one deep breath in. You're breathing on the ears. You need to take it off. There's a thumb clip on the side. Pull it forward. Come off, and there's a switch on the top, which will shut it off. So in, turn, breathe. We'll be there to help you in case you have any questions with it.
If you choose not to do it, that's no big deal. We'll get to a certain people options. One of the businesses that these bottles carry oxygen, and oxygen is just ambient air. Get a compressor in the cellar of the station, and the tube that goes up to the roof and just grab the ambient air.
Yep, there's a big tube on the side of the station, just lets the air right in. Yeah. Fills it up. Yeah, right. The lights. Okay, so the lights do work on it.
Yeah, if you guys want to separate, you can take the,
Oh, just another quick thing. These are half-hour bottles. We call them half-hour bottles. That's great if you're sitting there, standing here. It'll probably last you a half hour, maybe a little bit longer. When we're working in a fire, these last 10, 5 minutes, because you're breathing so fast and hard. That's it. Then you're up, switching it out, getting a new one. After about 2 of these, working hard, you're pretty shot.
Which 2 of you guys are going to be an ambulance crew? Okay, so Steve and Andy will be our ambulance crew. And there's 3 of you guys. You guys could be our engine crew. So for this scenario, we'll have our ambulance crew show up first because they have know-how. You guys are going to come in as the engine crew to assist them. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll walk in the door. You'll find them already getting going on CPR. All right. So guys, we'll just have you just not even half a minute ahead of them, just so they're already just pulling up, so they can watch everything you do when you get on scene. So, you guys come on in. We're going to go through it, you guys are going to come in, and then the paramedics are going to come in, they're going to kind of go through what they do, and we're going to package a patient up, we're going to bring them out, we're going to load them on the ambulance. So, lieutenant, driver, pipe, that would be your position. So, drivers, if we need them, they're going to be in helping us, but they're kind of like a runner for us. You'll be running out to get the backboard that I told them that the next crew's going to bring in. Hey, hold on, don't stop. Hey, the driver. Don't do it while they can't see.
Right, so when you pull it out like that, you're the driver. Obviously, you just got to make sure that you're parking in a safe place for these guys. You're going to be securing the truck, especially if we know it's a code. We're jumping off quickly and making a run for it. You know, if we get there about the same time, we're just going to go in with them. If they were there ahead of us, they might radio back. You know, engine 4 grab the backboard, so you would stop their truck, grab the backboard, and off you go. And you'd be, you know,
you have full communication with radios.
Yeah, we all carry radios. Everyone in the department carries radios. And what you would do is, if the ambulance is here first, they're not going to come in and back up to the door nice and neat.
Right.
They're just going to pull in, jump out, run in. So our pipemen.
We
Ideally, it's 4
Some-
people on a
some
truck, so you got
straps
3 coming
so
in,
that
and you
the,
can,
mic's
and the
right
driver would stay outside and shuttle. Sometimes we just all work together. The driver would turn the truck around, back it up, get the stretcher out, so. So here we go, we're gonna come in, and, I mean, you guys are coming in, we're gonna do this where you pulled up right behind them. So you guys come in, one of you guys just bring the backboard over, these guys will be working, and we'll just talk you through what you're doing.
I'll get it for some of the drivers.
Okay.
All right, when they walk in, you're just now assessing the patient, okay?
Okay.
We're ready to move?
You're not gonna do
Park the
CPR.
wheel up, you know, when you lift it to the thing and then up and in.
Depending on where we are, right, if it's a house, a lot of times you can't get the stretcher all the way in. You're carrying them out on the backboard, the driver would have been outside, the door's open, brought the stretcher right to the door. Or if it's a big open area like this, we might be able to wheel it.
Whenever we can get the stretcher in the building, huge.
Oh, I can imagine.
Huge, yeah.
As
But-
close as we
Third
can to the
floor,
patient.
right?
because
Now you get that person's dead weight
In
on
effect,
the
there's
person.
cheap bottoms.
You gotta keep moving the guy too.
Quite often, this happens on the 3rd or 4th floor,
Yeah.
and you're coming down the staircase this
And then we
big.
can get on the stretcher. we can
That's
start.
really fun.
Getting
All
a
right.
bigger cup.
So they're ready for it?
Yep, let's, okay, so you guys come in, you're right behind the ambulance.
Okay.
They just pulled up ahead of you. They called back, they said, we have a code. The paramedics are still on their way now. Oftentimes, the paramedics are coming from Battle Street, which is right on the limits of Fitchburg line. So they're probably 3 or 4 minutes behind. A call like this, it seems like it takes forever, but people actually tend to get there quicker. So what these guys are doing, Steve found that there's no pulse. Now right away, there's only 2, so someone's got to come over here, hop in, and you set up to the defibrillator. It looks like
The driver, I gotta be ready to.
One of you could be over here.
Andy would be,
Get the strap.
put an OPA in.
Yep, just like a seatbelt. Right. Brian, to make
Okay,
sure
as soon
each
as
one's
you
on the
get it
side.
on, you plug it in, you turn it on. And now you just tell him, I have the defibrillator, let me put the, he's gonna keep going while you do it.
Defibrillator, let me put
Okay.
Now Andy's gonna drop an OPA in, an airway,
Perfect.
to maintain the airway. You measure an airway. Quick. These airways, they're different sizes for different people. So you basically want it the size from your ear to the corner of your jaw. And that's how you can tell. Because someone like him and someone like you are a lot smaller than he is, half the size. Okay? A full-grown adult male and an adult woman, almost half the size. So, but you can't go wrong as long as you get one in. They come in sideways, then you turn them. If you put it in and someone gags, you don't need to do CPR. Because they will gag. This will hit your gag reflex. So if you try to put this in, you think someone
And they
isn't
gag.
breathing, they gag, they don't need CPR. That's a very good sign.
What's going on?
So now you would be telling them that we've got a full code, CPR's been initiated.
Okay, so what this just said was push to analyze. So now you're gonna stop CPR.
Okay.
Nobody touch him.
Now what this is doing is it's analyzing a heart rhythm, whether there's a shockable rhythm or not.
stand clear.
Nobody's near the
Wanna switch,
patient.
Andy?
Yep. Another thing we have to do, we often switch positions so you don't get tired.
All right, we're gonna shock it by, just keep doing that.
Charging.
Stand clear. Push
All right,
to
I'm
shock.
clear, you're clear. Right back to seat.
You shock someone, you'll actually see the body will
Start
almost jump.
clear.
Now this is a chaotic situation. We're out in the open. Oftentimes this is going to be someone's living room, kitchen, bedroom. Zero space. Now all of a sudden you have all these people to help, and you usually have a family member or 2 or 10
Like this.
screaming, crying on your back, telling you to save them. So very
So
hectic.
now you would have been here assisting and saying,
Oftentimes
okay
the
guys,
lieutenants
get the
will come in and
backboard
try to-
ready.
Yep. So let
All right, so now you guys
them on the
could
board.
let them help you guys put them on.
Usually
Don't
what
make
we'll
it so
do,
easy.
we'll roll them on their side, we'll bring the board right in
Slide the
behind
board
them,
right over.
and then ready, 1, 2, 3, roll them back.
Now you jump right back in those compressions. You always want someone doing compressions whenever you can. Now from this point, the paramedic is here. He's in charge of this patient in the scene. Now you're at his whim. He's going to tell you what he wants, or she.
Will you keep the defibrillator with them on them and
Tuck
carry
that
it?
in.
We will.
We put it right in between his legs.
The paramedics show up. They actually carry a monitor that's
Which I have.
He has it.
Yeah.
But for now, they shocked him once, And now I always judge the amount of time that there's been. Now they're ready to go. So what I would basically do is stay out of the way, and we'll just bring them outside and I'll meet them outside.
Okay.
Because that's how long it took me to get here. If I'm here earlier, I do more things. But for this scenario right now, we would do this, and then we'll stop everything that we're doing and we'll bring them outside. And they can even lift them.
Yep.
Carry them down.
So we all grab charge and just.
Yep.
Depending on the size of the
Depending on the
person,
size of them.
Yeah, we make
This
that.
is one on each side.
And the location. What's the
a lot of times this doesn't work if you're in someone's house because you don't have room to walk 6 people on a board. It's usually 2 and people in front of you, behind you, guiding you.
Like, how much does the average guy like this weigh?
Average male is what, around 200 pounds?
200 pounds, probably.
Hey. There's that camera.
That's where we sometimes.
And honestly, usually a good rule of thumb is as you go up the floor, they go up a few pounds. It's just, that's how it
So they
works.
start at like 150, by the time you get up there, they're 275.
Yeah, and if they're not, it actually feels that way because
A classic example of what happens almost every call you were talking was how they had to get them around the corner. They had to lift them all the way up into the air on one end because this door doesn't give us enough room. So now they go right, look, they go right back.
every chance you can, you're back on those compressions. Now Andrew just pointed out a good point, whether you guys even realize it happened or not, to make that corner right there, which is a relative, you guys had to go up over your heads.
Right.
All right, now think of doing that on a small little winding staircase. You're almost standing this person upright. So it really takes a team effort. Yep, you want to stop. Just stop to get them in.
So a lot of the three families, the stairs, we don't have enough room to bring the board down sideways. So we're really like walking down with the board vertically.
And you can see how chaotic it is just with us talking you through it. Our ambulances have a little more room in them, which is nice because we do this. They do this all the time. I mean, and they do a lot more with a lot less here, like ambulance size.
Then I would be here.
Now often what's going to happen is, now all of a sudden you have a couple ambulances and a fire truck. We're all going to the hospital. Fire truck, everybody. We're going to have the paramedic in here, usually 2 paramedics. One of their helpers, one of our guys is going to be in there. So now your 3-man engine crew is going to be out of service because one of your crew is going to hop on their ambulance and drive it and follow you. So all of a sudden you can see now we're going up the road as a parade.
Generally, at the very least, if MedStar didn't have a second ambulance available with another paramedic, there's going to be 2 of our rescue 1 crew in the back. They'll go driving from the engine. And Pikeman will drive our ambulance, and then we'll have 2 of us and the paramedic in the back because they still need to be able to drive their truck.
Why is that guy called a pikeman?
Pikeman?
Yeah, what's that?
The nozzle on a hose.
Oh, okay.
Throughout history it's been called the pipe.
Okay.
So you're a pipe.
You want to be Pikeman 1. You don't want to be anything below Pikeman 1.
Oh, okay, I'll remember
We have
that.
Pikeman 2, but Pikeman 2 doesn't get the pipe. You'll see that when we go throw some water.
Pikeman 2 stands at the bottom of the stairs.
Another thing is MedStar. MedStar has these fancy stretchers
Batteries.
with batteries to go up and down. Ours do not have that. Ours you would have to lift the whole thing up.
Saves your
Pick it
back.
up, saves your back.
So you all respond to a thing, it's ALS, right? Yeah. And the MedStar takes it to the hospital.
Yes.
So you guys, they're on their own?
We
You follow?
transport, no.
You follow?
We transport.
We're all in line
Come
with us.
Oh, they will come
Yeah.
with you.
Ride in our
We
truck.
would lose our pikeman to drive this truck.
I think he's talking about any ambulance.
Well, I'm just saying, if you all go there and everybody, because you think it might be LS, and it turns out that it is, and MedStar is going to be applying this, and they're going to do it in your vehicle?
Yes.
Really?
Everything goes in our vehicle. We transport it.
I see.
Unless one of our ambulances is, then
And so if it happens to North Leominster and the ambulance comes from downtown, you send this engine over? You go with them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then they'll go right to the hospital?
if it's a regular ALS
They
call,
lose one of their guys. They lose one of their guys to drive a pikeman.
Oh, they have to, right?
Then they have to go get him.
Yeah, you don't want to.
or they don't have supplies. You have to have at least 3 guys to be insured.
All of us are actually trained to assist these guys. We work with them on a regular basis, especially the guys on the ambulance. We're assist to help them with stuff, like use, spike IV bags for them. So we're kind of extra sets of hands for them.
You'll be a step ahead of them as to what they're going to need while they're doing their thing.
Now this is one scenario that's pretty, you're in a building or anything. The one that I'm curious about is you've got a car accident.
Oh, okay.
Right now you have a scene, right? You may be first, the police aren't there yet, right? And so you don't know what's going on, and you're gonna do all this stuff and sort of control the scene, right?
You can find yourself on the ambulance intersection, and that's
You have to kind of
looking at traffic,
Right.
dealing with police controlling people,
Getting them out of the way. Right.
Yeah, and how many times is there another accident? People driving by watching the accident, right? So, you know, someone's got to be there to make sure everyone's safe.
that's actually one of the scenarios that
Yeah.
That's I mean, this is one scenario, but the surroundings are controlled.
very much so.
Right, when you're in a car accident on the intersection, it's a mess, right? You got to control that as well as
And we'll be yelling back saying, "Where are the police? We need traffic control."
And sometimes they're the hardest ones supposed to work with the police because their whole focus is to get the road open.
Yeah.
Hurry up! What are you guys doing?
They don't want you taking a lane.
State police don't care. They'll shut the whole highway down and take us on as we need. We don't care. Local police just want the road opened up.
You know, it's also like, and like they said too, dealing with family members, especially when you're doing a call like this, is some of the toughest things because you got people yelling at you. I mean, especially kids. Kids are the absolute worst. You know, if you do a kid call like this,
We were at one of those kids that's like, just kind of lock it up, just find a house and that's not something you guys can do.
I can say from personal experience, my husband is doing photos on me today. He's
That's
been
what I
arrested
found
twice,
hardest
and you
family
guys
to deal
hate.
with the mother.
One with the lemons, the first one, he ended up with a Worcester, and the second one he had
Now, can they go with
Leominster, and the next day,
Depending on the situation, if a kid just
didn't have to do
has fever,
CPR, but
fever,
everything else that went on,
put the mother
it
in
was
the ambulance
phenomenal.
because they're reassured. Kids
So-
get scared to death.
Right.
If it's a critical injury, we usually try to keep them alive.
In some cases, you'll see people you won't see them What's that? Well, you can sit there if you want.
Nope, it's gone.
Make sure that nobody falls. It's a plastic getting off. It's a long seat. Exactly.
We got to switch. So you got to go in the nozzle. We're going to go high. Ready for water? Ready.
everybody's different. So their first in bag, which is green, has an oxygen in it, a blood pressure cuff, a BVM, and some random band-aids and stuff. So this is my first in bag, what I can do as a paramedic, okay? The difference is, it looks different. It's a different bag, but the difference is what's inside the bag. Now I carry everything they carry. So I have a BVM, I don't have oxygen supplies in this particular bag, but the difference is that when you go inside my bag, I have all these pouches. Well, this pouch here is purely for IVs, because I can do field IVs. So this is everything that I need to put an intravenous line in a patient. So it's all different size catheters, and then all the stuff that I need to finish an IV, tourniquets and everything. So that's one pouch.
What do you put into IV? Morphine or okay?
To begin with, it's to make access to give everything else. So at first it's just normal saline, which is just what our normal body uses as a medium between blood and not having any blood to pump the heart. So that's normal saline. So once the access is made, I can do whatever I want with it, be it drugs, draw labs, get blood. I can do all of that stuff before I get to the hospital. So the first thing I do in just this kit is purely get the IV in. So from there, I can, which is hard to see, for a cardiac arrest in any situation, I have all of these drugs here, which are all different, do all different sorts of things. And this is what really separates this and my monitor, which is my bigger box that's up there, separates a paramedic from a basic EMT. I can give drugs from a low blood sugar, I can bring their blood sugar up by giving them dextrose, to a cardiac arrest. This is epinephrine, that is promote the heart to start contracting again, is what we're using it for. We're hoping that's what happens. And then below that I have lidocaine, which is used to get rid of dysrhythmias, which means your heart's not pumping correctly. It's pumping but not correctly, so then I can treat that. And this one, which is ripped open, is to slow down your heart. So if your heart rate's going way too fast, I can slow it down. All the way down to your heart's going too slow and I need to speed it up chemically. So, and then this is a typical aspirin and nitro, which we wouldn't, this scenario wouldn't use this. This is for your chest pains. We discussed going and having an MI in the truck or a heart attack. This would be my frontline meds there. Aspirin, everybody should be taking aspirin. Things your blood's out so clot doesn't get in the way of your heart and lets it pump better. And this little bottle here is nitro. Nitro promotes more oxygenation.
Right. Yeah, don't they do it in the nasal form now or no?
Yes. Well, I'll show you in a second. So that's just my primary stuff. Now up in this pouch up here are more drugs that are more specific to other items. That's purely quick, fast, inside the house. Now in here, I have Narcan. Narcan's only used for one thing. It counteracts opiates. So heroin. It counteracts a heroin reaction. A lot of it. Okay? That's what that is. These are for respiratory nebulizers or MDI, albuterol and stuff. I have it in a different form. It goes inside a nebulizer, which I'm sure everybody's seen. That's there. And then there's numerous other ones here for, well, everything. There's some that makes you so you don't vomit. There's some because you have an allergic reaction. There's some because pregnant females get eclamptic, their blood pressure goes way down, and I can have medicine for that, and so on and so forth. And now, like you were saying, 50% of our drugs can be given nasally. Between Narcan, I can give morphine nasally. All it is this little tiny adapter right here gets screwed onto the end of the vial. And then when you push it in, this creates a mist rather than just liquid. So like you said, I can give a lot of these drugs nasally now. Not all of them, and that's part of the training too, is to know when you can use what and where. So that's that. And then the rest of this in here is all stuff. There's my BVM, you know what I mean? I have fluid that we talked about, the normal saline for an IV. And then to check blood sugars, everybody's seen the glucometer, that's a micrometer, and this all just packs them together. And then on the back side, this one pouch is all Band-Aids, normal BLS, gotta stop the bleeding stuff. There's nothing else good over there. But back here is the intubation roll, and they discussed an advanced airway. I'll take it. I don't like taking it out because obviously stuff's not going right. Now this is just to put airways in, be it a difficult airway or this whole kit is meant for that. It's my laryngoscope that's specifically made.
They can,
specifically,
they'll go right in through your mouth.
This one's specifically made to adjust your airway in order to put a tube. These are the actual tubes that you've seen on any show. You see it sticking out of their mouth. that actually goes in. So then they're all different sizes, all different things. You talked about foreign bodies in the airway. I have tools so we don't lose our fingers. I have actual tools to do that rather than sticking your finger in there. And then I have OPAs like everyone else does. And then I have some securing devices that wrap around the head. That's purely for airway. That's one whole kit for airway. And then like you said, I have another kit for a needle crank and I have another kit for chest decompressions, which are just little packages. That's why they're in there, which is actually, because it's meant to be an emergent thing, it's not meant to be a permanent thing. Ours are just needles, catheter needles that are they're just bigger than these needles, because it's not going to stay there. It's purely to get us to the hospital, and then they're going to take it out and fix it either surgically or whatever else for that. So that's just, and then this is actually not even all of it. I still have another whole drug box full of drugs that's in the truck. That's stored away, and in there, and in that box, which is secured behind 2 locks and a chain, are all my narcotics, stuff for pain control, stuff for, and more of this. The state requires us to carry enough medications to do 2 full cardiac arrests. So I have
in that bag?
No, on my truck. So I have a drug box that's in my cabinet over there that I would never bring it into the house. This will treat everything in the house.
Okay.
We get into the cardiac arrest and get into the truck, that box would come out of my truck and go into whatever truck I'm going into. Be it my own, be it rescue, Leominster's rescue, or wherever I go, my drug box will go with me. No need to bring it in the house. I carry everything that I need in the house in this, so we don't have to carry it.
Use something out of the control box. Paperwork and those ones.
The FDA gets involved. It's really huge. Like I have a lot in there because I have to be able to treat 2 patients completely. So I have twice as much as an average person would ever take on one call. I carry twice that. And then that's the cardiac monitor that has the big screen on it. Mine's a little bit bigger than everyone else's. In essence, it's the same thing that you see on the wall inside the hospital. The big thing up on the wall, that screen that shows you how the heart rhythm is.
That thing, yeah.
This is it, except it's portable. So this does everything that the hospital does, except mine's portable. And then the pouches are like everything else, a pouch for everything. This is for EKGs for the heart. And this side is a blood pressure. And then this side is for defibrillation, so my defib pads are up here. And then when you turn it on, which, unless we put it on a person, you're just going to see a dotted line. But when you turn it on, I have this screen that displays all of that information.
So let's say you got a guy on here and you've used a lot of stuff in the kit. You're getting him into the emergency room. The hospital can just take over from where you left off.
That's correct. That's
and
exactly right.
They have would fit with what you have.
That's right. Or they build adapters. Like technically, Leominster Fire's defibrillators are not the same as mine. This is a Zoll product, a company called Zoll. Theirs is for physio. But I carry adapters in my bag. I carry this adapter right here, so we don't have to peel off a set of defib pads and put on a new set. I just plug this in, and then theirs will plug directly into mine. So we just carry adapters like that. And then
you can see the huge difference in basic life support and advanced life support. This is basically, he's a doctor on the road, for lack of a better way of describing
You can
it.
do anything but
He does just about everything a
like.
doctor does out here, and
Right.
I mean, sometimes he'd have to call and actually get permission from a doctor, but for the most part, he's making all the decisions that a doctor, and when you pull into the hospital, you got 6 doctors, and 6 nurses and 2 doctors coming to help you with what he's making these decisions, and we're assisting him. So it's a huge difference between basic and advanced life support and what you can do.
And the numbers progressively go down on how many service everybody. In this area, we have MedStars here, so we have 6 medics on during the day, 6 paramedic trucks like this on during the day. But still, if you take it down a level, it's like they have 2 BLS ambulances that service how many people in the city of Leominster? 42,000 people. Well, fine, take that scenario, but there is, at any given time, and it happened on Thursday numerous times, at any given time there was one of me for 42,000 people in Leominster, not to mention we provide services to Lunenburg, Shirley, all the prisons, and there's one of me.
But there's actually, this is my contention, when you have shopping on Saturdays, and you have traffic on there, you're really not servicing 42,000 people, right? You're servicing 60,000.
Correct.
Because how many people, you don't say, are you a Leominster resident when you have a car accident on 13?
Right, it's just the number you can use.
Right, but there's on the weekend, there's 60,000 people, right?
Easy.
But and you do Route 2, right?
Yep.
Route 2, 190. And like you said, typically have 6 medics on, our 2 ambulance. I can't tell you how many times we've been calling Fitchburg or calling another town because we've used all those resources.
And it's hard to empty out our resources. We have a lot of resources on.
But it happens. And
so just the final thing in this for me is you drive into the hospital, go through what sort of is at your end, and you bring them in to the hospital.
Depending on the call, and we go right back to the cardiac arrest. We pull up on the way to the hospital.
But are you communicating with them?
Yes. On the way to the hospital, on any ambulance call you do, we have a radio in the back that's Central Mass. They're down in Hudson. We'll call them. You identify yourself and tell them where you're going and the priority 1, 2, 3.
Now, do you have interface with your computer system at all?
No.
Not.
So it's all verbal.
It's all verbal.
Once we go through Hudson, they'll open a private line with the hospital that nobody else can listen on the radio. You scan it, can't hear this. We'll tell the hospital a quick 2 minutes what the patient, what the problem is, what we've done, what the medics have done, and then they can determine in the time we're going there how to be ready for this. If it's just a basic call, typically you walk in the door and they're like, we'll be there in a minute. Cardiac arrest and ALS, you pull in, there's 3 or 4 nurses waiting for you.
They have a room already ready usually when we come in for something.
But even the hospital gets overtaxed a lot.
We've promoted and Leominster's graded it is that when they know it's a cardiac arrest, the dispatcher at Leominster and our dispatchers too have a chance. They'll call the ER so they actually know that much earlier that we're coming.
Typically, like as soon as we know we have a code or whatever, and we're actively doing CPR, our lieutenant will notify our dispatcher. So we have CPR in progress, notify the hospital. ETA 5 minutes.
You drive right in and it's done.
Then if we're all in the back doing CPR, trying to get a line in, everybody's doing something, we don't have to worry about stopping and calling the hospital, waiting for them to come on. They already have the notification. We have to notify them one way or the other, whether it's through radio or direct call.
Because when it comes down, there's not a lot of information that's get passed. We have a pulse or we don't.
Yeah, we generally have the
They're going to be ready for no matter what.
The age, hopefully, and CPR in progress. We have a 49-year-old male CPR in progress. That's all they need to know. That was traumatic or whatever, that'll all be figured out once we get there.
Once we do get to the hospital, they're waiting. We go right in the room. More often than not, a couple of us will actually stay in the room and help out and keep doing CPR until they've kind of filtered in one by one.
Yeah, it's common for one of us to be doing the compressions while they're doing it.
And then, once that's done, you're talking 20 minutes or so before you get yourself down to service.
Very impressive.
That's amazing.
It's a lot of controlled chaos.
Phenomenal. The other guys we hope we never have to see.
Right.
But it's nice to know this is here.
Absolutely.
But the biggest question I think we get, people, there's so many things we could tell you about, and the biggest question we get is, how come there's always 2 ambulances?
Exactly.
Well, how come there's a fire truck and 2 ambulances? Why do you need that many people for one person? You could see just something like this, you need a lot of people. And like I said, a lot of times it's not in an office, in a wide open room.
Right.
It's a lot of work, it's labor intensive.
The last one we had was in a single bathroom. The last code I worked. He collapsed forward in a single bathroom. And it didn't come in as a code, so there's only 2 of us. Me and my partner found him like that. We managed to drag him out into the hallway and start CPR before.
That's one of the worst things you run into is not knowing you're going for something like that.
Yep.
You think you're going for someone who doesn't feel good. Hey,
we
what's
get
going on?
called
Where's the patient?
We get called for the person
really
coughing up blood.
Because now all of a sudden, you're there, we're there, we're doing our job, but we're waiting 5 minutes for our engine and 5 or 6 minutes for a medic. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
And if you've ever called for an ambulance, I've worked on the ambulance, I worked on it full-time for 6 years. It feels like we're there in a flash. A couple weeks ago, my neighbor fell down, I called for an ambulance, and all I kept saying is, what the hell are these guys? But when I looked after, it was 4 minutes. 4 minutes is a lifetime when you're hurt, or someone your loved one's hurt.
When he had his heart attack, I mean, you were there in like 3.5 minutes, but that was the longest 3.5 minutes of my life.
The longest,
Right. And that's another reason we send the truck. Is the ambulance is coming from downtown. we've got 2 outlying stations, one in North Leominster, one in South Leominster. We're all EMTs, we've got equipment on the fire trucks. Whoever's closest, they're gonna go get there first. They can start something before that ambulance arrives.
Fascinating.
And then another reason why you all can often see some, more than one truck is disposition of the patient. We never know where we have patients that wake up but after being shocked, are angry at us. They were just doing CPR and now he's mad at us.
Yeah, it brought you back to life.
That was our last one.
Wow.
Overdoses the same way. Once they give them the Narcan
don't wake up
and they come
happy.
to it, they wake up very, very angry.
They don't realize they were just about dead and you just saved their life. They're just mad at you.
Never thought of that.
But it's, I mean, it's not the person, it's
Right.
what's in their body and what they're going
Right.
through, so.
Very impressive.